Hello, good people of YouTube. Mountbatten here. And I hope you guys are enjoying the update and getting some great ships out of your Santa containers. This year they seem to be a little bit more rewarding than last year, unless you're me, right? Still haven't gotten the Hoffman that I was hoping I was getting out of my Santa containers, and I have collected all of them via my Santa gift certificates now, or festive certificates. I think that's what they're really calling them this year. But hope you guys are having better luck than me. From what I have seen from posts, yeah, y'all are. But anyway, in addition to Santa containers coming out this update and the Stillwell event that brought us the Hoffman, Shinano, Chikuma, and all of them, there was another pretty big change that was implemented in this update. Something that a decent portion of the player base had been asking for a while to happen, and that was, of course, the removal of the detonation mechanic. This is something that has been debated for some time amongst the community, and I'm guessing wargaming alike. The detonation mechanic used to work like, well, this. If your ship was below 75% HP, there was a random chance that you could potentially blow up when a shell hit your ship. I believe back in the day it used to be able to happen from 100% HP, but then they cranked it down to 75% to alleviate some of the pain. So that, of course, isn't any fun when you're randomly sailing around and a random shell hits your, I don't know, radar dish, and now your whole ship blows up. It is something that I wasn't necessarily a huge fan of, but it did happen historically, quite famously at the Battle of Jutland, and of course the Battle of the Denmark Strait with the Hood. So I was like, oh, okay, I can see why it's kind of in game. But fast forward a little bit, and well, a certain class was privileged enough to have the detonation mechanic completely removed. And that, as I'm sure many of you are aware, well, was CVs. With the CV rework, detonation chance from CVs were completely removed, and, well, CVs couldn't blow up no more. Which was quite upsetting because, well, that never happened historically, right? Right? Floating airbase made out of, well, steel full of aviation fuel, bombs, torpedoes, rockets, planes themselves, ammunition for the guns. No way that could randomly blow up. But, yeah, that happened, and that rubbed quite a few people the wrong way, myself included. I didn't think it was very fair of one class to completely just not have the chance to randomly blow up, while every other class has the chance to, well, randomly blow up. So I wasn't a big fan of that. But fast forward to today, and now no one can randomly blow up anymore, which I think is overall a good change. If one class isn't going to have the chance to randomly blow up, no class should, in my humble opinion. I believe submarines couldn't detonate as well, because I never saw a submarine detonate. If that's wrong, please correct me in the comments down below, as I know many of you will. But anyway, detonation mechanic's completely gone now. That does leave a slot open in the equipment tab for a new flag, a spot that Wargaming filled right away. Because, of course, being that this is a game, you can put a magic piece of cloth on your ship, and that completely removed the chance of your magazine from detonating. Because video game logic, right? So the detonation flag was replaced with the new health flag. Well, we already have a health flag with the flag that buffs your healing consumable, so I guess this is the ship HP flag now? I don't know. Its name is Charlie Kilo. And what Charlie Kilo does is when you mount it on your ship, it gives you a flat 5% buff to your ship's HP. So you get more HP for your ship. Pretty nice flag. And in many an argument I've seen, it's kind of more required than the detonation flag was, because you could just run the chance of not detonating, but it was only a chance of detonating, right? It's a random chance in the first place, so it may not happen to you at all. It may not be necessary at all to run that flag. But a constant 5% buff to your HP, I mean, it's pretty usable, right? Right? And because of that, many players, claim that this was a bit of pay to win making its way into World of Warships. And, well, let's take a look at that claim now. Since it's been out for what? We're what, 2 weeks into this update? 3 weeks into this update? I don't know. It's the holiday time, state testing time. I'm a teacher. Time at this point is kind of just morphing into an orb of this, everything going on in my life right now. But it's been some time since the update has been out. Has this flag really made that much of an impact on the game? And is it really that required for you to take? Well, let's take a look at exactly what it does. You might be saying, well, Sealord, it gives you another 5% HP to your ship. Yeah, it does. But how much HP is that really? Well, of course, that depends on what ship it is that you're playing. Obviously, something like a GK with 105 HP is going to get more than a little bit of a bump from the flag than something like, obviously, a tier 10 destroyer does, like a gearing. But more HP is indeed more HP. So, how much HP, again, depends upon your ship. If it's a destroyer, it might be another couple thousand HP. If it's a battleship like the GK, you get what, 10% of GK's HP is, 10,500 HP, so by 5, that's another 5,000 and change. So you get a little bit over 110,000 HP with the GK. And with what's also funny too is that seeing these numbers is kind of bringing me flashbacks of survivability expert being a thing. If you guys don't know, survivability expert used to be a thing you could take on, well, everything back before the commander rework. So there used to be players that would take survivability expert on like their Yammies and their GKs, and you'd see like a Yammy with like 100 and something thousand HP. It was like, oh, that looks a little weird. But it wasn't really considered to be a good thing back then because you had to, of course, spend the commander points to do that, which could be spent elsewhere. But now it's just a flag you put on, so you get that right away. Also, too, it's kind of funny. You have Musashi, a tier 9 battleship that gets 100 and something thousand HP now. It's a little goofy. It's like, what, 102, 101,000 HP? So, yeah, that's pretty funny. But what does that HP really do for you? Well, I'd argue on battleships and, heavier-ish cruisers doesn't really do a whole lot. Like, don't get me wrong, obviously, it's more HP. It is a bit more HP, but 5%, that's a couple overpins to your superstructure if you're a battleship. Maybe again, a stray shell that hits your hull, pins but doesn't do its full damage. So it's a shell or two more. And you might say, well, yeah, that's a shell or two more that, you might be able to get away and survive to fight at a later date. Sure, 100% that's true. Which is why I think on ships like destroyers and light cruisers, it's a bit more substantial, because those are the ships where, it comes down to that last shell so much more often than it does on, again, heavier-ish cruisers and battleships, right? Because battleships, you tend to very rarely eat only one shell. You're getting a whole wall of shells thrown at you by usually more than one ship on the enemy team because you're the big, juicy target that everyone wants to punch to death, right? So I don't think it really makes that big of a difference there, but it does certainly with destroyers. Now, obviously, you might say, well, of course, there you go. Your team's destroyers live longer if they use the Charlie Kilo flag. Therefore, you win more if your team is, has those destroyers with those flags equipped. Ergo, pay to win. Well, is it ever really that close, that often in random battles? For me, it's most certainly not over here in the North American server. I mean, every now and then, yeah, absolutely. You do have those cases where that destroyer lives with 88 or 20 HP, right? But those cases are very few and far between, at least again on the North American server. And then cases where that destroyer survives and is actually useful later are even further and farther in between. Most games look like, well, games in the background, where it's pretty clear that one side's winning pretty well early into the match. And I'm sure most of you can sympathize with that. Half of your team's sunk already. Your team's hiding behind a rock, or they're staying, on one grid coordinate. They're not moving around a whole lot, while the enemy team's just gaining all the map control. Their destroyers are surviving, and they're constantly murdering your team. So I don't think in the context of random battles, it really makes that much of a difference. So, sure, again, it is an advantage, but it's not a guaranteed win just because you have 5% more HP than, you normally would without the flag. And I know it doesn't really make that much of a difference because, well, Wargaming didn't put the flag on your ships automatically. So it removed the detonation flag because it deleted it from the game, but it didn't automatically apply the Charlie Kilo flag, even though it replaced the detonation flag 1-to-1 in the update. So you know what I've been doing because I keep forgetting to put it on? I've been running around playing the game without my extra 5% of HP to most of my ships. So I haven't been losing any more than I normally do. I've been winning just as much, it seems. In fact, if you go back and watch Monday's Top 5 video, I have a 7-kill game in Musashi where we clawed our way back to victory, and guess what? I didn't have my magic 5% HP flag. Now, yeah, it is a Musashi, right? Like, it's a powerful ship, but I didn't have my pay-to-win flag on while everyone else did. How do I know? Because I noticed that, oh my god, the update came out. All these ships have so much more HP than they normally do, and I forgot to put it in my Musashi. I felt like an idiot, but then I proceeded to get a 7-kill game and, managed to, in a major way, contribute to winning the match for the team without my magic 5% flag, right? And in the background match, too, again, like, what's 5% more HP? What's another 4,200 and change HP going to do in the situation right here? When I'm in a Libertad, yes, a really powerful ship right now that's probably going to get nerfed in the future, but half of the enemy team is still alive and has most of their HP intact. It's not like they're down to their last 5% of their HP. It's like I might have a chance of killing them if I had, my last 5% of my HP intact. It's like, oh no, well, we're going to try to take out as many with us as we can, right? I get stuck chasing a Montana because I can't turn around because he's going to blat me. But it doesn't matter because my team just kind of sits behind the aliens anyway. But yeah, so it doesn't really come down to those last morsels of HP at random battles too much. Now, in ranked clan battles, obviously that's a lot different. But most of the players that are playing ranked and playing clan battles are running full signal flags anyway. And at the end of the day, that's what the argument really comes down to, isn't it? How do you get these flags? Well, you buy them with credits that you can earn by playing the game normally. You don't have to jump through any extra hoops. You don't have to hand over your credit card. You don't have to hand over any doubloons. You can buy these using credits or even coal. So they are free for you to purchase using in-game items you can just grind by playing the game. You don't even have to grind them out. If you're only running the HP flag, it's not really that expensive to run by itself. I mean, yeah, you got to cough up the extra credits to pick it up, but it's not really that much, right? I mean, you can easily, if you have a decent game, not even miss the credits that you get, that you have to pay in order to run the flag. So it's not like you have to, buy a premium ship to get these flags, or buy them with cash. You can just get them by playing the game, get them in containers, get them by like every other flag in the game. So it's not really pay to win, in my opinion. Is an advantage, yes, but again, you don't have to do anything special to get it. Just play the game and pick it up in the port by credits or in the containers or whatever again. So it's not really pay to win. Wargaming, for all their faults, have been pretty, in most cases, again, some ships come out overtuned, some premium ships were a little too cracked back in the day, but here recently they've been pretty good about not including any overt pay to win things. Yes, Libertad's strong right now. I'm sure it's going to get nerfed in the future. But, they removed premium consumables, which were actually pretty much straight up pay to win, right? Or more pay to win than this one silly flag, right? They removed that from the game, so you don't even have to worry about that anymore. So there's that. And hopefully it stays that way. We had our premium ammo scare there for a little bit, but then thankfully they came out and clarified that wasn't going to be a test bed for premium ammo. And hopefully we won't see that in the future. But guys, that's my 2 cents on the flag after it being out for a couple of weeks now at this point. Again, I've been running without it like 2/3 of the time anyway. Doesn't really seem to make that big of a difference. And as far as like random battles go, right? Again, ranked and clans are a completely different situation from random. So let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. You think it's really been that big of a deal? Or have you barely even noticed it at all? Let me know all that jazz in the comments down below. Hope you guys have a wonderful Saturday, wonderful weekend. Hope to catch you guys in the next one.